The massive alien ships appeared without warning in Earth's orbit on a quiet Tuesday morning. Their dark, metallic hulls blocked out the sun in major cities across the globe, casting ominous shadows over millions of bewildered humans who stood watching the skies. Admiral James Miller stood in the Pentagon's command center, his weathered face illuminated by the glow of multiple screens showing the alien vessels. "What are their numbers?" he asked, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Sir, we count 37 capital ships and over 200 smaller vessels," reported Lieutenant Wilson, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "They're positioning themselves above every major city on Earth." The first transmission from the aliens came through all communication channels simultaneously. The message was clear and cold. "You will surrender your planet to the Galactic Council. Resistance is futile. You have 1 Earth hour to comply." Miller's jaw tightened. He had spent 30 years in the military, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. The world's leaders hastily convened an emergency video conference, but before they could reach a decision, the aliens made their choice for them. The attack began precisely 1 hour later. Energy beams cut through the air, targeting military installations first. The aliens had clearly studied Earth's defenses, but they had made one critical mistake. They assumed humans would follow conventional military doctrine. In New York, Commander Robert Thompson had already evacuated his forces from their bases, dispersing them throughout the city's subway system. As alien forces began their ground invasion, they found empty military bases, but faced guerrilla attacks from unexpected directions. The aliens' technological superiority was obvious. Their energy weapons cut through Earth's most advanced tanks like butter, and their shields easily deflected conventional missiles. But they hadn't counted on human resourcefulness. In London, Captain Emma White led her unit in using the city's ancient tunnel network to ambush alien ground forces. They discovered that while the alien shields could stop high-velocity projectiles, they had trouble with slower-moving objects, like rolling cars rigged with explosives. The first day of combat resulted in devastating losses for humanity. Major cities lay in ruins, millions were dead or injured, and Earth's conventional military forces were largely destroyed. But something unexpected was happening. Humans weren't surrendering. In Moscow, civilians armed themselves with whatever they could find. In Beijing, the remaining military forces went underground, taking their weapons and technology with them. In Rio de Janeiro, people used the sprawling favelas to hide and organize resistance cells. The alien commander, known only as High General, sent a puzzled report to the Galactic Council. The humans continue to resist despite overwhelming odds. Their behavior defies all known combat logic. They attack when they should retreat, hide when we expect them to fight in the open, and seem to become more determined with each defeat. What the aliens couldn't understand was that humanity's greatest strength lay in its ability to adapt and overcome. As the first day of invasion turned to night, Admiral Miller had already begun implementing a desperate plan. "They think they've won," he told the remaining military leadership from a bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. "They think we're beaten, but they've just made the biggest mistake in their history. They've given humanity no choice but to fight back with everything we've got." The resistance began gathering intelligence on the invaders. Every skirmish, every fallen alien soldier, every piece of destroyed equipment was studied and analyzed. Humans began to notice patterns, weaknesses, and most importantly, they started to understand alien technology. Dr. Thomas Anderson, a physicist who had been working on experimental weapons before the invasion, made the first breakthrough. Examining a damaged alien shield generator, he discovered something that would change the course of the war. "Their shields," he explained to Admiral Miller, "they operate on principles we never considered. But now that we understand them, we can beat them. We just need time." As the first part of the invasion drew to a close, the aliens believed they had achieved victory. They had destroyed Earth's major military forces, occupied its largest cities, and assumed control of its governments. but they had fundamentally misunderstood the species they were dealing with. In bunkers, basements, and hidden facilities across the globe, humanity was preparing its response. The real war was just beginning, and Earth was about to show the Galactic Council why you should never corner a species that had survived everything its own planet had thrown at it for millions of years. Admiral Miller's final message to all resistance cells was simple. Remember, we're not fighting for victory anymore. We're fighting for survival. And that makes us the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The aliens were about to learn an important lesson. Humanity doesn't lose when it's defeated. It just changes the rules of the game. 2 weeks after the initial invasion, Dr. Anderson worked tirelessly in a makeshift laboratory deep within an abandoned mine shaft. The captured alien technology scattered across his workbench glowed faintly in the dim light. He hadn't slept in days, but his eyes sparkled with excitement. "Admiral, you need to see this," he called out to Miller, who had just entered the facility. "Remember how our nuclear power plants confused their sensors? It wasn't just interference. We've been accidentally developing immunity to their weapons for decades." Miller leaned over the scientist's shoulder, watching as he demonstrated using a salvaged alien weapon and a piece of specially treated metal. The energy beam that should have melted the metal merely scorched it. "Earth's background radiation levels are much higher than their homeworlds," Anderson explained. "We've been living with it, adapting to it. Our technology, our materials, even our biology, they're all radiation hardened. The aliens' energy weapons are basically focused radiation beams, and we're naturally resistant." The discovery spread quickly through the resistance network. In Denver's underground bunkers, engineers began retrofitting human vehicles with salvaged alien plating, creating hybrid machines that combined human ingenuity with alien technology. Lieutenant Wilson, now leading a team of hackers, made another breakthrough. "Their computer systems," she reported during an emergency meeting, "they're too perfect, too logical. They can't handle chaos, and chaos is something humans excel at." The resistance started using this knowledge. They introduced random patterns into their attacks, created deliberately illogical battle plans, and used methods that seemed insane to the alien military minds. It worked. In what became known as the Chicago Gambit, a small group of resistance fighters drove a garbage truck filled with scrap metal directly into an alien patrol. The aliens' sophisticated targeting systems, programmed to identify military threats, completely ignored it until it was too late. The aliens' frustration grew. Their reports to the Council became increasingly concerned. "The humans are displaying unprecedented adaptation rates. Their primitive technology is being modified in ways we never anticipated. Standard containment protocols are failing." But the real game changer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Maria Torres, a microbiologist working in a hidden facility beneath Mexico City, made a stunning discovery while examining dead alien tissue. "They're too clean," she announced to her team. "Their immune systems have never dealt with Earth's bacteria. They'd been so focused on sterilizing everything, they've made themselves vulnerable to the simplest organisms." The resistance quickly weaponized this knowledge. They didn't need complex biological weapons. Earth's natural bacteria were deadly enough to the invaders. The aliens' perfect sterilization protocols became their weakness, as they couldn't process the sheer variety of microorganisms present in Earth's environment. Admiral Miller coordinated with resistance cells worldwide, implementing what they called Operation Petri Dish. They began using ventilation systems to spread harmless to humans, but alien lethal bacteria into occupied buildings. The aliens started falling sick, their perfect immune systems overwhelmed by organisms humans had lived with for millennia. The alien command was baffled. Their medical technology, advanced as it was, struggled to combat the countless varieties of Earth's microorganisms. They had to abandon several conquered cities, their troops falling ill from what humans considered minor infections. Meanwhile, Dr. Anderson's team had reverse-engineered enough alien technology to begin production of their own hybrid weapons. They combined human-style projectile weapons with alien energy technology, creating guns that fired radiation-charged bullets that could penetrate alien shields. "We're not just fighting back now," Miller told his officers during a secure video conference. "We're winning small battles. Each victory teaches us more about them, makes us stronger." They thought they were facing primitives, but they're facing the most adaptable species in the galaxy. The aliens had never encountered a species like humans before. Most civilizations they conquered either surrendered immediately or fought conventional wars and lost. Humans did neither. They adapted, improvised, and refused to follow any predictable pattern. By the end of the first month, the resistance had established secure underground factories, developed effective countermeasures against alien technology, and begun exploiting the invaders' biological weaknesses. What the aliens had thought would be a simple conquest had turned into a nightmare of asymmetric warfare. In their sealed ships, the alien commanders watched with growing unease as their perfect invasion plan unraveled in the face of humanity's boundless capacity for adaptation and survival. They had come expecting to find primitives, but instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, and it was getting stronger every day. The war for Earth was about to enter a new phase, and humanity was no longer the underdog. The Resistance's first major intelligence breakthrough came from an unlikely source: a damaged alien data core recovered from a crashed scout ship. Lieutenant Wilson and her tech team spent 3 days decoding its contents in their underground facility. The Galactic Council, she briefed Admiral Miller, pointing to holographic projections, consists of 12 species, each controlling different sectors of space. They've been conquering primitive worlds for centuries, but they've never failed before. The data revealed something even more crucial. Each species had specialized roles in the Council. The current invasion force primarily consisted of the military arm, leaving their scientific and diplomatic corps vulnerable. Dr. Torres burst into the briefing room, her lab coat stained with alien tissue samples. "Admiral, we've confirmed it. Each Council species has been living in completely sterile environments for so long that Earth's natural environment is toxic to them. Even our air makes them sick." Miller studied the holographic display of Council territory. "So they're not just fighting us. They're fighting our entire biosphere. Every breath they take without their protective suits is dangerous to them." The Resistance developed a new strategy. Instead of trying to destroy the alien ships, they began targeting their environmental systems. A single breach in their life support could render an entire vessel uninhabitable. In Australia, Resistance fighters discovered another weakness. The aliens' advanced sensors couldn't cope with the planet's natural electromagnetic disturbances. The same solar radiation that humans had adapted to disrupted their targeting systems. Commander Jackson led the first coordinated strike against an alien command post in the ruins of Sydney. His troops used the city's natural harbor to approach underwater, another environment the aliens found difficult to monitor. "They're so advanced," Jackson reported after the successful raid, "that they've forgotten how to deal with simple problems. They can't handle getting wet. They can't handle dust. They can't handle anything that isn't perfectly controlled." The Resistance began compiling a detailed database of alien weaknesses. Each Council species had different vulnerabilities. Some couldn't handle Earth's gravity, others were blinded by certain wavelengths of light, and all of them struggled with Earth's unpredictable weather patterns. Dr. Anderson's team made another critical discovery while studying alien communication systems. "They're using quantum entanglement for instant communication," he explained to Miller, "but it only works through their relay stations. Take those out, and they're as blind as we are." The aliens never expected humans to understand their technology so quickly. They had conquered hundreds of worlds, but none had ever turned their own technology against them with such speed and creativity. In a bold move, Miller authorized Operation Blackout, simultaneous strikes against alien communication relays across the globe. The Resistance used everything from electromagnetic pulses to simple explosives, cutting off the invasion force from their command structure. The alien commanders, used to perfect coordination through their quantum network, suddenly found themselves isolated and unable to adapt to local conditions. Their rigid military doctrine fell apart without constant guidance from their superiors. They'd never had to think for themselves, Miller observed as reports of confusion among alien forces poured in. They've always relied on their technology and central command. We're teaching them the hard way that humans are different. The Resistance's understanding of their enemy grew with each encounter. They learned that the Council's unity was more fragile than it appeared. The 12 species didn't always agree, and some were already questioning the wisdom of invading Earth. Lieutenant Wilson's analysis of intercepted communications revealed growing tensions within the Council. Some species are losing more troops than others, she reported. They're starting to blame each other for the failure of their simple conquest. The first major victory came when resistance forces in Brazil captured an intact alien command center. The information they recovered was priceless. Complete technical specifications for Council technology, military protocols, and most importantly, the location of their primary fleet base in Earth's orbit. As Miller studied the captured data, he couldn't help but smile. They documented everything perfectly, he said. Every procedure, every protocol, every response to every situation, except they never planned for an enemy that doesn't follow any rules. The Resistance now had what they needed: detailed intelligence about their enemy's capabilities, weaknesses, and internal politics. The aliens had made the mistake of assuming that technical superiority guaranteed victory. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was their ability to use their enemy's strength against them. The stage was set for humanity's first major counteroffensive, and the Galactic Council had no idea what was coming. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, humans had turned abandoned mining complexes into secret shipyards. Dr. Anderson stood before Admiral Miller, presenting their newest creation, a hybrid warship that merged salvaged alien technology with human ingenuity. "We call it the Ghost," Anderson explained, pointing to the holographic blueprint. "It uses modified alien stealth systems combined with our understanding of their sensor blind spots. To their scanners, it's completely invisible." The prototype Ghost ship looked nothing like traditional human or alien vessels. Its hull was covered in irregular patterns that scattered sensor beams, and its engines operated on a revolutionary principle that left no energy signature. "The best part," Anderson continued, "is that we can build these using mostly Earth materials. The aliens won't detect the manufacturing process because they're looking for their own technology signatures." Miller walked around the hologram, studying every detail. "How many can we build?" "With the hidden facilities we've established worldwide, 50 within the next month. Their overconfidence is working in our favor. They've stopped looking for military activity because they think they've destroyed all our capabilities." The Resistance's intelligence network, now run by Lieutenant Wilson from a mobile command center, began feeding false information to the alien occupation forces. They created phantom resistance cells, staged fake attacks, and kept the aliens chasing shadows while the real work continued underground. "Their pride is their weakness," Wilson reported. "They're so convinced of their superiority that they're not even considering the possibility we could build our own fleet. They think we're just primitive beings with stolen technology." Construction of the Ghost fleet proceeded in absolute secrecy. Hidden facilities in abandoned mines, underwater caves, and remote mountain ranges worked around the clock. Each ship was different, following the human principle that unpredictability was their greatest asset. Commander Jackson, now in charge of pilot training, discovered another advantage. "The alien ships are designed for beings used to perfect environmental conditions," he explained during a briefing. "Our pilots can handle much more stress. We can pull maneuvers that would knock their crews unconscious." The first Ghost ship's test flight proved more successful than anyone had hoped. It slipped past the alien fleet in orbit without triggering a single alarm. The alien commanders remained focused on ground operations, never suspecting that humanity was building a force that could challenge them in space. Dr. Torres's biological warfare team added another layer to the deception. They released harmless but aggressive bacteria that forced the aliens to strengthen their sterilization protocols, keeping them focused on ground-level threats while the real danger grew in orbit. "They're so busy protecting themselves from our germs," Torres said with a smile. "They're not looking up anymore. Their arrogance is making them blind." The Ghost Fleet grew ship by ship, each vessel hiding in plain sight using technology the aliens never imagined could be turned against them. The human crews trained in secret, learning to use their ship's unique capabilities and developing tactics that would be impossible for the rigid alien military doctrine to counter. Miller received regular updates as more ships joined the fleet. They hid in Earth's magnetic field, in the shadow of the moon, and in the atmosphere itself, places the aliens considered too hostile for spacecraft to survive. "We're not building a fleet to match theirs," Miller told his officers. "We're building one that can run circles around them. Every ship, every crew member, every tactic is designed to be unpredictable. We'll hit them where they never expect, using methods they can't understand." The alien high command remained confident in their victory. Their reports to the Council spoke of a dying resistance, of humans finally accepting their inevitable defeat. They had no idea that their every transmission was intercepted by the growing Ghost Fleet, their every move watched by ships they couldn't detect. As the last Ghost ship took its place in the hidden fleet, Miller gathered his commanders for the final briefing before Operation Thunderstrike would begin. Looking at the assembled officers, he saw not just determination, but confidence. "The aliens think they know everything about us," he said. "They've studied our history, our technology, our military tactics, but they've never understood the most important thing about humans. We don't accept defeat. We adapt, we evolve, and we overcome." The Ghost Fleet was ready. Humanity's counterattack was about to begin. And the Galactic Council was about to learn that their simple conquest had become their worst nightmare. Operation Thunderstrike began at dawn. The Ghost Fleet emerged from hiding like phantoms materializing from nowhere. 50 ships, each different, each deadly, appeared simultaneously around the alien fleet in Earth's orbit. Admiral Miller stood on the bridge of the flagship Ghost, named Humanity's Pride. "All ships, execute attack pattern Alpha," he commanded. "Remember your training. Hit fast, hit hard, and never do what they expect." The alien fleet responded with confusion. Their sensors, designed to detect standard energy signatures, struggled to lock onto the Ghost ships. Their first warning was when their outer defensive line erupted in explosions. "Enemy ships breaking formation," Lieutenant Wilson reported from her tactical station. "They're trying to establish a standard defense grid, exactly as predicted." The Ghost Fleet split into smaller groups, attacking from multiple directions. Human pilots pushed their ships to extremes that would have killed alien crews, using Earth's gravity and magnetic field to perform maneuvers that defied conventional space combat tactics. In orbit above Europe, Commander Jackson's squad demonstrated why humans made better pilots. His ships dove through the alien formation at speeds that turned their craft into blur, their modified inertial dampeners allowing maneuvers that the aliens considered suicidal. "They're following their combat manual perfectly," Jackson reported with a grim smile. "Too bad, we wrote a new one." The aliens' rigid military doctrine became their downfall. They attempted to form defensive positions that would have been perfect against conventional attacks, but the Ghost Fleet wasn't fighting conventionally. Each human ship fought differently, making it impossible for the aliens to establish an effective response. Dr. Anderson's voice came over the command channel. "The hybrid drives are performing better than expected. Their sensors can't predict where we'll appear next. They're shooting at our afterimages while we're already somewhere else." The battle in orbit was just the first phase. As the alien fleet struggled to combat the Ghost ships, resistance forces on the ground launched synchronized attacks on every major alien installation on Earth. Dr. Torres's biological weapons proved devastatingly effective. Modified bacteria, harmless to humans, ate through alien environmental seals. Their ground forces found themselves fighting not just human soldiers, but Earth's microscopic life as well. Their command structure is breaking down, Wilson reported, monitoring alien communications. Each species is blaming the others for the failure of their defenses. They've never experienced anything like this. The Ghost Fleet's success exceeded all expectations. The alien ships, designed for battles of attrition against conventional forces, couldn't adapt to an enemy that refused to follow any predictable pattern. Each time they developed a counter to one human tactic, the Ghost Fleet switched to something completely different. Miller watched as another alien capital ship erupted in flames. "Status report," he ordered. "We've destroyed 30% of their fleet," Wilson responded. "Another 40% is severely damaged. Most importantly, their command and control systems are in chaos. They can't coordinate their responses anymore." The aliens attempted to call for reinforcements, but the Ghost Fleet had already destroyed their quantum communication relays. For the first time in their history, a Galactic Council invasion force was cut off and fighting alone. "Message from ground forces," Wilson announced. "Resistance cells report alien ground forces retreating to their ships. They're abandoning surface positions across the globe." The battle lasted 12 hours. When it ended, the once mighty alien fleet was in ruins. The surviving ships retreated to the far side of the moon, desperately trying to regroup and understand what had happened. Miller gathered his command staff for a brief meeting as the Ghost Fleet maintained its defensive positions around Earth. "This isn't just a victory," he told them. "This is a message to the Galactic Council. Humanity won't be conquered. We won't be ruled. And we're ready to take the fight to them if necessary." The aliens had arrived expecting to find primitives. Instead, they found an enemy that had taken their technology, improved it, and used it in ways they never imagined possible. Their perfect invasion plan had been shattered by human unpredictability and adaptability. As reports of victory came in from around the world, Miller knew this was just the beginning. The Galactic Council would have to respond to this devastating defeat, and humanity needed to be ready. But for now, Earth had won its first major battle against the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. The aftermath of Operation Thunderstrike sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council. In their Grand Council chamber, representatives of the 12 species argued bitterly, their unity crumbling in the face of unprecedented defeat. Through captured communication devices, Lieutenant Wilson monitored the chaos. "The Council is splitting into factions," she reported to Admiral Miller. 3 species are demanding immediate withdrawal from Earth. 4 want to send their entire military force. The rest are caught in between. Miller watched the holographic display showing the remains of the alien fleet still hiding behind the moon. "For the first time in their history, they don't know what to do," he observed. "They've never faced a species that defeated them so completely." The first diplomatic contact came unexpectedly. A small vessel approached Earth under a flag of truce, carrying representatives from the moderate faction of the Council. To their surprise, they found themselves negotiating with a species that held the upper hand. In the makeshift diplomatic chamber, converted from an underground bunker, Miller met with the alien diplomats. Dr. Anderson and Lieutenant Wilson stood beside him, while Dr. Torres monitored the meeting from a sealed chamber, studying the aliens' biological responses. "Your species has achieved something unprecedented," the lead diplomat admitted, its translator converting alien speech patterns to English. "No world has ever repelled a full Council invasion force." "Perhaps," Miller responded, "you should have studied us more carefully before assuming we were primitive." The diplomatic talks revealed deeper fractures within the Council. Some species had opposed the invasion from the start, seeing humanity's potential. Others had invested heavily in the invasion, and now faced economic ruin from the loss of their fleets. Wilson's intelligence team intercepted communications between Council worlds. "They're terrified of us now," she reported. "Not just our military capability, but our rate of adaptation. We learned and improved their technology faster than any species they've encountered." The Council's military hardliners made one final push for total war. They launched a surprise attack on the Ghost Fleet, only to find that humanity had already improved their ship's capabilities. The second battle was even more decisive than the first. Dr. Torres's latest report added to the Council's concerns. Their populations are panicking, she explained. We've proven that their perfect, sterile worlds aren't as safe as they thought. Some of their citizens are demanding isolation from other species, fearing Earth's biological diversity. The moderate faction gained power within the Council as more species realized the cost of continuing the war. Human diplomatic efforts, led by Miller, exploited these divisions skillfully. We don't want to be your enemies, Miller told the Council representatives. But we won't be your subjects either. Earth is offering you a choice: peaceful coexistence or a war that will change the galaxy forever. The Council's unity finally broke when two of its most powerful species secretly approached Earth with an offer of separate alliance. The news leaked, causing chaos in the Council chamber and forcing the Hardliners to reconsider their position. They're realizing that their entire power structure is at risk, Wilson noted during a strategy meeting. The Council has maintained control through technological superiority. We've proven that advantage can be overcome. Dr. Anderson's research team continued to advance human technology, incorporating and improving upon alien designs. Each new development made the Council more nervous, as humanity demonstrated an ability to innovate that surpassed their own. The turning point came when resistance forces detected attempts by individual Council species to establish secret communications with Earth. The mighty alliance that had ruled the galaxy was fragmenting, all because one primitive world had shown them they weren't invincible. Miller used this leverage masterfully. Every day you delay meaningful negotiations, he told the Council, is another day we grow stronger. Another day we advance our technology. Another day more of your members consider breaking away. The Council faced a choice they'd never encountered before: adapt to a new reality or risk losing everything they'd built. Their perfect system of galactic control was crumbling, and humanity held the key to their future. As the diplomatic talks progressed, one thing became clear: the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had not just defeated an invasion. They had shattered the political structure that had governed space for centuries. The age of the Galactic Council's absolute rule was ending. A new era was about to begin. 1 year after Operation Thunderstrike, Earth's delegation stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. Admiral Miller, now serving as Earth's chief representative, faced the assembled aliens with quiet confidence. The chamber, once a symbol of the Council's absolute power, now witnessed a historic transformation. The terms are non-negotiable, Miller stated, his voice firm. Earth demands full recognition as an independent power, compensation for the invasion, and unrestricted access to galactic trade routes. The Council members, once united in their superiority, now sat divided. Their mighty alliance had been humbled not just by military defeat, but by the realization that their civilization had grown stagnant while humanity demonstrated explosive growth. Dr. Anderson provided the latest technological assessment. In 1 year, we've not only mastered their technology but improved it. Our Ghost Fleet ships now outperform anything in their military. They know this isn't just about political power anymore. The reconstruction of Earth's cities incorporated advanced alien technology with human innovation. Where alien destroyers once cast shadows, new structures rose that combined the best of both worlds. Humanity had not just survived, they had evolved. Lieutenant Wilson, monitoring the Council's internal communications, reported growing acceptance of the new reality. Several species are already attempting to establish private trade agreements with us. They've seen what we can do with limited resources. They're terrified of what we'll achieve with full access to galactic technology. Dr. Torres's biological research had revolutionized galactic medicine. We've shown them that their fear of natural environments made them vulnerable, she explained. Some species are already adopting our approach to biological adaptation rather than total sterility. The Council's final vote was unanimous, though driven more by pragmatism than genuine acceptance. Earth would join the galactic community not as a subject world, but as a major power with full rights and privileges. "Let the record show," the Council chief announced, "that humanity has earned its place among the stars through means we never imagined possible. The age of conquest is over. A new era of cooperation begins." The reparations package was massive. The Council species responsible for the invasion surrendered advanced technology, resource rights, and trade concessions. More importantly, they acknowledged Earth's right to maintain its military forces, including the now legendary Ghost Fleet. Miller addressed the combined Earth governments after the signing ceremony. "We didn't just defeat an invasion," he declared. "We changed the fundamental balance of power in the galaxy." Humanity proved that determination and adaptability are more valuable than technological superiority. The Ghost Fleet, now expanded and improved, became the symbol of Earth's new status. Its ships patrolled trade routes, protected Earth's interests, and served as a constant reminder that humanity could not be underestimated. Dr. Anderson's research teams continued their work, now with access to the full spectrum of galactic science. "We're advancing faster than any species in recorded history," he reported. "The Council races are starting to send their scientists to learn from us." Earth's influence spread rapidly through the galaxy. Human adaptability and innovation proved as valuable in peace as in war. Worlds that had stagnated under Council rule sought Earth's help in developing new solutions to old problems. Lieutenant Wilson's intelligence network transformed into a diplomatic corps, building relationships with species that had grown disillusioned with the old order. "We're not just a military power anymore," she noted. "We're becoming the center of a new galactic culture." The Council itself underwent radical reform. The old hierarchy collapsed, replaced by a more equitable system where innovation and cooperation were valued above tradition and power. Humanity's example had shown them a better way forward. 1 year to the day after the invasion began, Miller stood at the window of the new Earth Embassy on the Council's capital world. Below him, humans and aliens mingled freely in the streets, trading ideas and building relationships that would have been unthinkable months ago. "We did more than survive," he reflected. "We showed the galaxy that true strength lies not in technological superiority or military might, but in the ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow." The galaxy had entered a new age. Humanity, once dismissed as primitives, had become the driving force for change throughout known space. The species that came to conquer had instead become the catalyst for their own transformation. Earth's future was now bound to the stars, not as subjects, but as leaders in a new galactic order. The invasion that was meant to end humanity's independence had instead launched them into an unprecedented age of growth and discovery. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity was just getting started.